Hello, Chiefs. How are you? So good to be with you again. Happy Friday to you. Another week is done, and it's time for the Chief Chat. Good to see everybody with us here today. Wardy's in the house. Hey, Wardy. It is raining in Oregon. Trees are falling over left and right. Wow, that's no fun. Dean is here. What's up, Dean? Cloudy and mild in Sedona. We're all getting the weather report. Bruce Chenoweth is in the house. What's up, Bruce? Bruce is in sunny Idaho today. Ken is in overcast Pell City, Alabama, but a pleasant temperature. Wow, Pell City. I bet I've been through Pell City on some of my travels as a road comic. I've played some of the nearby cities in Alabama, I'm sure. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Wendy, how's the weather there? And what part of Britain are you in there? Kev K in Rochester, New York. What's up? Sunny sun. Nice. It's raining in England. Good. So we can all bond together. I think between all of us, we have a partly cloudy but pleasantly temperatured day going on. Philly, Kathy's in Philly. It's beautiful, warm and sunny. Excellent. Yeah, it seems like it's winter has failed to arrive. I shouldn't say that because I know they've been pelted in a few places. But here in Florida, I'm not kidding you, it has not dropped below 70 degrees during the day. Maybe once, got down to like 68 or something. Not complaining, it's very pleasant, but it creeps me out a little when Thanksgiving and Christmas is around the corner and it's like literally haven't put on a sweater yet or even a jacket. And I think there's something wrong with that. I used to love when I lived in Chicago, you know, those days where obviously it's not slush everywhere, but you get some fresh snow and you head downtown and do some Christmas shopping. It just felt like, I don't know, at least what the American dream version of Christmas is supposed to look like. So I've never really loved Christmas in Florida, but not complaining. I know some people have it pretty tough where they live. And yes, El Nino, it is. So what does that mean? We're gonna get swacked here come like January, and then winter won't actually end until May. Is that what that does to us? So enough about the weather. Let's get into the content for today. Nobody signed up, I don't think, officially for the hot seat, which I gotta tell you, it breaks my heart a little. Breaks my heart a little to see such an amazing opportunity to have this community ready to back you and help you and review your stuff. But I put it on myself, as always, to do a better job of promoting such things and making sure that all of our members know that there is a hot seat to be signed up for. The way it works is there's a link in that thread where you can actually go onto my calendar and book your seat in the hot seat. And that's the only way to officially claim the hot seat. You got to go book it on the calendar and send me some materials in advance. Nobody did that this week, so never fear. We're going to have some great content. I've invited a few chiefs to come on and share some more about some of the threads they've started. Some great threads this week. Everything from Dan Ferrari laying it down with his amazing control for Motley Fool, doing an Ask Me Almost Anything on that. That's a great thread. Some great value in that sales letter, obviously. We're going to take a look at that. Great thread by Kev K. Love the title. This is horrible. I can't believe Copy Chief is still in business. Always a great way to get my attention, and brings up a really valid point. A cool way to frame a missed opportunity sitting right under my nose that we'll be talking to Kev a little bit about. Don't know if Melanie's on the call here. Vani also wrote to me privately and asked me some questions about the origins of Copy Chief, that if we have time, maybe I'll jump into some of that for you, Vani. Thank you for those questions. And I've just shared with you a podcast that James Shremko did all about Copy Chief and why I started it and some of the processes that you might find helpful. So, Kathy, the calendar is, I know you did send me a page, fair enough, but the calendar is in the sticky thread inside the general discussion forum that says Hot Seat Fridays. There's a link to register and a link to book your hot seat right there. Oh, Melanie's here. Oh, yay, Melanie's here too. Whoa, goodness. Feedback on your USPs. Yes, I can do that. This will be a crowded call, but we'll have a good time. Ross is not here today. Ross has traveled on to Las Vegas for the Conor McGregor fight tomorrow. That's my terrible Irish accent. So I love to have Ross here to go over some of those USPs with us. I know he's been dying to get into the threads and give you guys more individual help. Of course, all his bandwidth's been eating up, creating these amazing trainings for us. So applause to Ross. So, but I'm happy to jump into some of those USPs and take a sort of a surface look and see what I see based on that amazing tool that Ross created. That calculator is so awesome and so fun to collaborate on. If you can bring somebody else into the process with you, like we said on the training, that isn't as emotionally invested in your product as you are, or your company, or you, depending on which USP you're creating, to brainstorm, your unique claims of value, and then judge them together. That 1 to 5 rating of how the appeal and the uniqueness. Super fun, super valuable. We jammed on the ones you saw on the training, and it was a lot of fun. And it's amazing how sort of instinctive it is to rank that stuff. So okay, cool. So where do we start? Let's go with I'm gonna save anybody who want. I'm gonna bring Kev on in a little bit. Yeah, okay, USP. So, all right, let's jump in and do that. Let's start with the USP, since that was the big training. Hopefully you guys were able to be on the training. And let me find, you posted them in, I got a little emergency activity outside the window here, in the training part 2 section, I believe. Okay. Okay. So Jason Loya. Point me to exactly which part of your USPs, if you guys can link me directly. So I see Wendy's, I see your claims of value. And I see, Bruce, your value proposition question and your claims of value. So let's go with those. I think we'll be in good shape there. Let me just switch over. The link to the recording of the training is in that same sticky section there, Kathy, right at the top. General rule here, when something new is happening, when we have a new training going on, I will typically post it in the general discussion as a sticky so that it's easy to find. And then after a week or so, it'll move over to the bonus training section. Okay, cool. So let me share a screen here, and we'll all go over there together and look through some of those USPs. Everybody can see my screen there. You see Bruce's lovely head there. Yeah, yes, please. I re-rated mine after the training to more 3s. Yeah, that tends to happen. Okay, cool. So, yep, good. Yes, cool. All right, let's jump into Bruce here. Value proposition. If I am not feeling well, why should I learn from you rather than just go see a doctor? Okay, so let's just start there. I think a better way to frame that, if I am a what? So just getting more clear, Bruce, on the avatar here. If I am a, is this any person, or can we get more specific about that? If I am a woman over 40, if I am a man with poor prostate health, if is there a more distinct avatar, or is this a very general health proposition? Let me know. Claims of value. You can become completely healthy without any toxic, dangerous, or expensive drugs, no matter what ails you. Okay, I see what you're saying. So it is a pretty general no matter what ails you. Appeal 5, exclusivity 3. Completely healthy without any toxic, dangerous, expensive drugs, no matter what ails you. Yeah, exclusivity is definitely a 3 or even a 2 there, because very few, a lot of people will claim that same thing. Appeal is a 5 if your avatar is now. So then we go back to the question, right? If we're going to define the question better, if I am someone who does not trust Western medicine and am also not feeling well, why should I want to learn from you rather than go see a doctor? Or if I am someone, so to me, if we're talking about the appeal of, become completely healthy without any toxic, dangerous, expensive drugs, that has to be identified as an existing problem. Does that make sense? So otherwise we're just too broad. We can't go into the giant health space of the world and assume that we're going to talk directly to people who can't afford their medicine and are blown out about the fact that it could be toxic or dangerous, right? Yeah, if I am a person who is losing faith in the medical profession, right? Okay, good. So we start the conversation there. If you suspect that, the medical, system, particularly here in the United States, I'm assuming is not working for you, and you're tired of only getting, 4 minutes of actual FaceTime with your doctor, and he's staring at your chart rather than looking you in the eye, and you feel like you're being written prescriptions without anyone really hearing your problem. Obviously, we can't, unpack all that into the avatar, but when we write our appeals and begin to identify exactly who our market is, that's important. And remember that you may have 2 or 3 different ones for these, right? So like, against what? If you're someone who, if you're an avatar who's really put out by the current level of medical attention they're getting from the traditional system, that's sort of one avatar. If you're somebody who really doesn't care where relief comes from, as long as it comes from somewhere because you feel like you've tried it all and nothing has worked, that's a different avatar. If you're somebody who simply cannot afford your medicine, or medicine is only available to you at such an extreme price that you're squeezed out of the option, that's a different avatar. So it starts with identifying all your avatars and your market, and then start to ask these questions so it becomes more succinct, more in line. Sorry about all the sirens here. I think there was a car accident nearby, so there's ambulances and whatnot. Hope everybody's okay there. So I'm going to read through yours real quick, Bruce, and hopefully this is helpful for you. More than just a practice, simple, reliable testing methods let you know in advance if an approach will or will not work for you. Simple, reliable testing methods. Okay. Again, I kind of have to know what the testing methods are. Appeal is a 5. So I notice you're putting appeal at 5 on all of these. But again, if it's such a broad avatar, I don't know that that's going to be the case. You're not going to get 5 appeals across the board unless you start to drill down into the specifics. You will see immediate results that can last your lifetime. Again, it's good, but it's very broad, right? What does that mean, immediate results? Results, what does a result look like? So we have to be specific in how we talk about the benefits. The single most effective treatment for all ailments is free and readily available almost anywhere, everywhere. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to prove that to me, right? And again, you're stating it as something I've already bought into. The single most effective treatment for all ailments, like, that's a really hard sell. You should not assume that you've convinced somebody of that. These have to be the facts, the claims of value that are facts. Like with, remember how we broke down with Saddleback, something like a bold claim, like the greatest leather workers in the world. but he gives the reasons why he hires the best, and even talks about how he pays them. And so he spends a lot of time convincing you that that is a fact, that he has the best leather workers constructing your bag from Saddleback Leather. And then it's about how much does that matter to the customer. Make sense? So something like the single most effective treatment for all ailments, I have to assume here that you're doing a really good job of convincing me first that that is real, and then proposing it as a fact for me. So, you know, if it's free and it's the greatest thing ever, yes, that is an appeal, but just understand the weight of that claim and how well it needs to be proven, and how convinced your avatar, your prospect, needs to be before they can you know, agree that that's the appeal. Exclusivity too. See, now that's weird to me, because that's such a big claim that I don't know how many people are claiming that the way you've worded it. To make it a 2, meaning that, you know, it's not so exclusive, because a lot of people have claimed that kind of thing. So I think that's a little off. The program is closed, closely affiliated with the teachings of Master Healer Dr. Regan Golub. So the appeal is 4. Now, to rate the appeal that high means that everybody reading this letter is already a fan of this Master Healer. So the exclusivity, maybe even a 5, unless, well, you say closely affiliated, it's not exactly his. But if it's his teaching, then nobody else can do it. So that's a 5. But the appeal, if I'm not coming because I'm already zealous fan of this doctor, then the appeal is more like a 3 or a 2. But yeah, I see you've got a couple asterisks there, because they come up with the training. Proof is easy, but does it belong there? So just to be clear, Bruce, it belongs in the letter. So just to be clear, it's the facts that belong here, but for a fact to make it to this list, it has to be, you have to be 100% sure that the evidence is in your material, so that they'll have no doubt that they have bought into the idea that that's a fact. Again, the Saddleback example is, you know, you can go on their site and easily see evidence that he hires the best workers. He shows you exactly how they stitch stuff together. So when he says there's 14,000 stitches in the bag, he's basically got videos where he's counting them and showing you how many there are, right? So so that's why it's important to, why I keep bringing up, like, only make it a fact if you know that the copy is backing up that fact. Does that make sense? I hope. Yeah. Okay, cool. So your concerns were both appealing to relative to many factors, for instance, knowledge of how to attain and retain ideal health is business as usual. Most unbelievable for people who have only been exposed to the, for the health ignorant person. Yeah, so you're bringing up big topics here that I don't think we'll be able to solve on the Chief Chat, because I want to get to a lot of material, but I'll try to dive into this more closely with you, and I'm sure Ross will be into the thread as well. Okay, cool. All right, good. So again, you say you can do that, but I would say make sure it's present first. Make sure it's part of your marketing, because you may sit down to write it and realize that, man, this is kind of hard to prove. The single most effective treatment for all ailments, every single ailment in the world, is one thing, and it's free and readily available. That reminds me of the guy, what was that, My Big Fat Greek Wedding or whatever, where he sprays Windex on everything, like his elbow is sore, and he's like convinced that Windex. I'm not trying to debunk anything you're saying here, Bruce. It's just that is such an amazingly big claim that it would be very daunting to convince somebody of that. So I would challenge you to, you know, remember to look at this through the eyes of your avatar and say, you know, is that something I can really convince them of? All ailments, every single ailment. I don't know. That's a big ask. Yeah, water. Okay. So yeah, I don't believe it. Unfortunately, I'm sure that people don't get enough water, and having more water would be a huge benefit. But certainly, drinking more water doesn't cure cancer, right? And there's supported research I will share later. Okay, so I'll just challenge you, as I would any client. If you hired me as a consultant or a copywriter, I would say I'm just not. You really like blow my mind and show me and prove to me that water could be the treatment for the most effective treatment for any ailment. Okay, cool, good. I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm a huge proponent of water. You should hear me negotiating with my children in the morning to drink water before school, and you'd be cheering me on from the wings because I couldn't agree more that water is hugely important. But that is a very huge, great, honest. Cool, good. So yeah, let's make sure that we're able to convince people first, and then get into the scoring there on that fact. Okay, let's move on to Wendy. Only healthy organic aromatherapy components, 0 synthetics, artificials, filler, cheaps. Very good. See, now we're getting very specific here. So yeah, 4 and a 3 on the healthy organic aroma. 4 is the appeal. Yep. And 3, you're saying is exclusivity. Okay, that looks fair. Personal touches and genuine care. 5 and 4, personal touches. I guess I'd want maybe some more, you know, granular explanation of what a personal touch means. Does that mean that live agent available 24/7 to answer any question? That's very appealing and exclusive. But personal touches and genuine care is something I think almost any company would claim if we state it as vague as that, right? So again, it's all about specifics. Receive compliments weekly. Love the sexy sense and the way my skin feels. Yeah, that's a big appeal, to receive compliments. Again, we'd want to back that up with some testimonials of things. Okay, cool. You add surprises into parcels. So that's what I would state as the fact, you know, extra care, you know, hidden surprises, unexpected surprises arrive at your door, kind of a thing, right? Because again, this is you listing the facts of your company. Okay, made in England. Is that a 5 appeal? I don't know. I'll let you decide, because I'm not from there. I know made in USA for us was probably not a 5. Yeah, what was it on Saddleback? I think we scored it like a 3 or a 4. English rosewater, English lavender, hydrosol combined with exotic rare botanicals. Yeah, so that starts, yep, I'd say 4 is very fair there. 100% free from palm oil and its derivatives. That's only a 1. Designed for skin comfort, no clog, heavy, sticky, tacky, greasy, black jelly. That seems like it would score higher than a 1, except again, you have sort of the same challenge maybe that Bruce does, in that you have to really state palm oil as the enemy and make sure that if people are coming there because they specifically want to avoid products with palm oil, then that appeal goes almost to a 5. But if it's something you're having to educate them on the importance of, then it's more like a 2 or 3. 1 feels very low for that. Yeah, not made in China. I would say not made in China. And then, you know, where, you know, similar products are proven to not only be, you know, of a lower quality, but actually harmful. So real quick, Kathy, I want to create a new passive income stream in my business. Why should I take this course? Good. I can't create your online course. It's gotten a better response than anything I've done lately, so I figured, okay, good. Shorter than competitors, 5 short video modules. I'm confused by your scoring, -3, or is that -3? So you only did 1 here. Kathy, how come there's only 1 number? There should be appeal and exclusivity. So I'm going to let you, maybe if you haven't been through the training to score it, I think you were there for the second one, right? I'm going to leave this one alone until we actually get the scoring, but I'll just read through your facts, your claims of value real quick. So shorter can be priced lower. Simplifies the process of course creation. Includes marketing from beginning, so you don't create a course and then wonder, what do I do now? Option to get a 30-minute consultation at a low rate. No, I don't think that's a 4. I'm wondering, are these numbers, made in England is good. Kathy, tell me what these numbers are. Are these appeal or exclusivity? I'm trying to figure out how you came up with these numbers. Unusual sneaky tips to choose a topic. Yeah, these are more like bullets, Kathy, and we want to like really just go with the facts. Again, if you've gone and asked yourself these questions and laid out all the basic facts of what's unique about your product, I think some of these things are there, but so can be priced lower. You need to state that in a way that, you know, I'm not sure who you mean there. So what can be priced lower? What you're offering or what they're going to be offering? And do they really want to create something that's priced lower than everybody else? Is that the appeal? I'm not sure. So, so I would say, yeah, exclusivity is really important. So I would go back through and use that calculator and watch the training again. And we spent a lot of time talking about how we stated these questions, because it does take some practice and it's really important. So I know it's a little bit, believe me, it took me a few minutes in going through this, you know, creating this training with Ross. He had to explain things to me 2 and 3 times sometimes. So totally get that on the first watch, it doesn't always smack you upside the head as simple as something like the 60-second sales hook. But this is a really important thing to go through. And once you get it for good. It's kind of like riding a bike, right? Like the minute it clicks for you, you'll go, oh, I totally get this. And you'll have this radar, these goggles, these USB goggles that you can look at any product, your own stuff, other people's stuff. I mean, what a great thing as a consultant or a freelancer to have these USP goggles to go, your appeal seems off to me. You know, and then just like make that start there with your client. Well, let's talk about your USP and let's rate the exclusivity and the appeal. It's life-changing. It's life-changing exercise. Again, when you develop the ability to do it and then do it for other people, you're just spreading some of the best marketing tactics you can do. Just checking in with the comments real quick. You guys are just kibitzing here. Awesome. I love how you guys love each other. Yeah, that's all good. No, I'm glad we did that. But I think that the biggest thing with USPs is what I'm saying is just if you have to go back through that part of the training again, do it. And just make sure you're clear on how to ask these questions and how to make these statements. Okay. That'll really bring you a long way. But congratulations on making the effort to go through them. And it might just take you a couple of times through. I see that Phil, yeah, sorry about those tech glitches. I promise you I'm looking into a better way to do the trainings. You know, the Hangouts are fine for what we're doing right here, but for trainings, I'm realizing that Google Hangouts just isn't the way to go. So Phil's asking direction of where the exercises for USP parts 1 and 2 are in the sequence. I've got the gist, but I need to do the work to make it stick. The exercises, well, look in those threads. There were 3 emails that went out before part 2. If you didn't receive those, Phil, or you didn't pay attention to them when they arrived, they're also posted in the thread. So I would start with those exercises. Just go back through the trainings and you'll see the exercises to do. So all good stuff. All right, let's move on to some of these other threads. Melanie had a great question about how to justify price. It's a big topic as well. What's the most outrageous way you've seen a copywriter justify price? I love your comment about, anything better than worth more than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It's one of the worst appeals ever. Or when they frame it as, if you just skip your Starbucks coffee 2 days a week, you could, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to sacrifice. And then Gerald lays out something about his method for his email players. Talk about how it's very expensive. Then he frames the value $7.95 before hitting you with the $98 a month. Scott Haynes' Trump University letter is pretty cool. Frames the price. So there's lots of cool structures out there. I think this is probably not something we could cover on one quick go here, but Melanie, let's have you come on in a minute here, and we'll all jam on some topics, including this one. Right now, let's bring on Kev K, my man Kev K in the house. And I really love this post. If you guys didn't get a chance to read it, I love how you're calling out other members and sort of fawning on showing the love for some Jim Carrey never hurts. But this is a great post about an opportunity that we're missing here on Copy Chief, and probably a lot of marketers are. Simply inspiring your readers, viewers, subscribers to like something and share it before you actually deliver the content you're promising. I think that's a huge opportunity. Something we certainly could have done, say, with this USP training. So let me bring you on, Kev. Here, just let me find you in the room and then invite you to. There you go. That's the email. We're back to the problem I had before where I can't. Can you raise your hand and request to be invited as a speaker, Kev? Is that an option for you in your? Had this problem once before, and or I cannot. There you are. All right, cool. Request. Perfect. Thank you. You should be popping on here with us. Let me make sure I got my speaker set up correctly. I'm going to do the built-in. What mic am I using? That's
Hey, Kevin, you got me? Hey, Kevin, I don't hear anything. I see on the screen.
second. Now do you hear me?
I hear you. There's the beautiful voice.
Haha. I realized, you know what happened? I tried to switch mics midway, and I guess you can't do that.
Ah.
So lesson
Cool.
learned. Okay, cool. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. I love this piece you wrote, man.
Good. Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. And
I feel like I'm on the hot seat a little bit. I call you out and you just bring me right,
I called you on, bro. Let's have this out right here in front of everybody.
I love it.
Yeah, bro. And such a valid point. A cool way to get my attention, and I'm sure other people will be wanting to read this and see what you called me out about. But want to make sure I understand completely. It seems like a really simple action that I'm just not taking, that when you show it to me, I go, how could I not be doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, if I have something of value I want to offer up to the community, let's say not the members, I wouldn't make the members raise their hand and beg for stuff, but on the outside, on the blog section of Copy Chief, I would say, hey, this USP topic has become really hot. We've already shown you how the UFC does it. We're thinking of creating a worksheet where you can create your own USP. If you're interested in having that, please tweet this, share this, or like it on Facebook. And if we get enough action, we'll create it for you. Is that essentially it?
That is really I'm catching a little echo from you, Kevin, there. But like the high level concept of the piece is really just building in these little growth triggers into your content, right? So one application of that would be making an exclusive offer for a share or doing something. It's really, how can you build that into the content of your email series, of your blog posts, things like that?
Yeah,
totally.
Great.
And the detail really, right, on a conceptual level, that's pretty simple, but the nuances of actually implementing that is where things get interesting. That's really what I wanted to try to dive into with that post.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. Like how do you do this and not look, obviously I've seen people do this before. My first question was, what if nobody cares? How do you not look like an idiot if everybody goes, no, we're not going to share this, we don't care?
Yeah, so that speaks to 2 points. One, it brings up a really good point about setting your mechanism, right? So asking people to share, that would be your mechanism that you're using to spread the word. And then also building in a threshold that needs to be relevant to your objectives as a business owner, right? From your perspective, does that help me meet any objectives? If it doesn't, then don't include a threshold. Don't put it in there.
Gotcha.
But if it does, certainly include it. Right? So a lot of the marketing that I do revolves around growth and following the data to find that growth. And a lot of times, if you ask people to share, and if we reach a certain threshold, I'll build this thing. If you don't reach it, that might actually be just as good. Sometimes not building something and not doing something will help you grow just as effectively as making something. So it really has to fit your objectives to make sure so if you're going to put in a threshold or not.
If my objective is not to, if I don't care why else would I do it if I don't care how many people share it?
How do you mean? So it might be an exclusive piece of content. So let's say if we jump to the Moringa example, and Jason has a report that people opt in for, and then he says, if you share this, I'll give you a $5 off coupon, right? There's no extra work on his end to offer that $5 off coupon. So there's really no use for a threshold within that application. Setting a threshold is most useful when there's some sort of extra effort required on your end to fulfill the promise.
Right. Okay, but say I know I'm going to create it anyway, and I'm just kind of doing this as an exercise to go, well, let's make it an event. Let's see how many shares and how much social love we can get from this exercise.
Yeah. Well, being the data freak that I am, I call you out and say, well, why are you trying to make something if the data doesn't support you making that?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. So how would I frame it if I don't want to worry about meeting that threshold? Just say if I get enough likes and shares and things like that. Like, don't put a specific number on it.
Totally. Yep, you can do that. Not even mention a threshold.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting. Great. So what are some other opportunities to do this? Say you it's a great way to vet an idea, right? Just to find out, does anybody really want this or not, right? Does this article, does this topic warrant more effort on my part? Will anybody actually care? Right. It reminds me of, and one time I surveyed the members of Copy Chief and gave them 3 different options of a training we would do that month. And one of them was headlines. And I thought, well, this is almost a stroke because everyone's going to choose headlines. Like, there's no doubt, everybody always wants headlines because you hear, that's what people ask us about all the time as copywriters. Let me ask you about headlines. Well, sure enough, headlines lost by a landslide. It had like 4% of the votes, right?
Right.
And these other what I thought were more, less sexy topics everybody was far more interested in. And so that was really very revealing to me, right? So this is an important exercise. This is in a much better way than having to run like a Facebook campaign and test different appeals and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much traffic should you have to something before you can viably run a test like this?
So if the mechanism is put together properly and the compelling value is there, I would say put it in place immediately. You want to be careful about what type of social elements and social proof you include.
Mm-hmm.
But really the idea is to just propel growth beyond you putting hours in as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. And so what is the best tool, to use to inspire? Like, how do you measure? I mean, obviously you can see the count, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
Does it matter? Sometimes, I'll say that I have one more question after this. So what's the best tool?
Sure. So when you say tool, I think you're referring to like the mechanism. So with regard to social shares, I've seen other situations where people will ask you to put in an email address of a friend.
Right. Yeah.
Interested.
Yeah. That seems like a little cheesy.
The mechanism is a key piece, and that really needs to align with the value
Yeah.
that you're offering. And I actually have a funny story where we use this, and our mechanism was a really big ask, but because the value we were offering for that,
Mm-hmm.
It worked like crazy. Is when I was getting started in marketing, I was doing some work for a local golf course who has a banquet facility where they host weddings, and they came to me and they wanted to give away a free wedding, $10,000 wedding package for free.
Wow.
But they challenged me with developing the contest in a way so it makes business sense. So how does giving away $10,000 actually positively impact our business? Great. So what we did was we set up a contest where couples submitted their love story or their engagement story, and then we shuffled through all of them and picked 10 finalists, and then we tasked those 10 finalists with getting votes for a month. Everybody could vote once a day for the entire month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty big ask. That's a pretty big mechanism, right? We're asking these people to go and just tap into your network and drive as much traffic to this page as possible. But the reason why people did it and we got a ridiculous response is because we were giving away $10,000 wedding, right? The value justified that ask. I mean, there were people, one of the finalists was a teacher, and they were putting announcements in the high school that she taught at over the loudspeaker every day, driving traffic to this. And it ended up bringing in about $100,000 in extra business outside of the contest. So that's a really important detail, is to make sure the mechanism matches the value, right? Yeah. So there might be a case where I'm offering you something so valuable that you are willing to put in your friend's email address, right? Which is going to be far more valuable than just a social media share.
Right. Okay, cool. Great. And how did they measure the new business it brought them? But are they selling packages during the contest?
Yeah, so not well. I mean, I'm positive they brought in more business, but that was $100,000 in business from people who entered the contest. So directly. There was no doubt more word of mouth that was stirred up that brought in more business, but we just didn't measure that.
All right, and so the thing you linked here is this One Press Social Locker.
Yep. So this is
just to be clear, you and I are not pitching this thing. This was not like some convenient. And what tool would you use, Kev? This is just what I just noticed after I asked that you actually linked it. So why do you like this thing?
So it's free. It's a free plugin that you can set up. So if a good application of this might be, you have a lead magnet that people opt in for, and then you put on a thank you page. You say, okay, if you tweet the lead magnet that you just opted in for, I'll give you some additional content.
Yeah.
I'll give you an extra coupon or an extra discount or something like that.
Yeah, great. Okay.
And
that's what it does. It does it follow up? So somebody tweets or takes the action we asked them to, and it immediately rewards them with what we promised.
Exactly. And it does that automatically for you.
So, so is that how it always works? And we just say we want to meet a threshold, or is it a different device for actually meeting a threshold and then delivering? That's just more of, hey, you guys did it, and now here's the thing I promised for everybody. Yeah. Right.
We're not always going to be using a threshold.
Right.
So there is some social proof that you can build into, right, using Social Locker, because it'll show you how many people have tweeted it, how many people have liked it already.
Yeah.
the determining whether or not a threshold was met is a little bit more of a manual practice to go in and look and see if it was hit or not.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is cool. So this is like, hey, you build it up just like anything. You got to sell the bonus, even if it's free, but you get them all hot and bothered about having it. And you go, I want to give it to you right now. All I'll ask is that you spread the love for me and like this on Facebook, and it'll be instantly delivered to you. And there's no other thing they have to do. They don't have to get on another list or do anything else. It's just boom, nice and clean right there in front of them.
Right. Yeah, I can see this working really well. I know with your 60-second sales hook ebook, you have some additional content with like video sales letters, things like that.
Yeah.
Right. Tweet this out and I'll give you a little bit more. And that's an important point, is it needs to be compelling value that extends the value, so it's relevant, so it moves them even further, as opposed to something that isn't relevant.
Excellent. All right, cool, Kev. Thank you for that. And I'd be a fool not to implement this. So really appreciate you sharing it. And everybody go read Kev's article. Kev, stay on the line with us, man. I want you to be one of our resident experts today, okay?
Totally.
And our friend Wardy is just asking about her viral loop in the thread, along with the conundrum. Would love some feedback on it if there's time. Okay, let's try to get to that. I'm going to bring Melanie on real quick. Melanie, could you raise your hand and ask to be invited as a speaker? And Wardy, will you go ahead and do that as well? And I'll try to move quickly, knowing that you guys probably, everybody can't hang out forever. But I would love to talk a little bit about price framing with our friend Melanie here. And who else can I bring on? Let's see who else is in the room here. Dean, always fun to have you on. Dean, if you want to raise your hand. Angie's on. Angie, if you want to raise your hand. Hi, Neri. Neri's here. Kathy. Oh, April's here. April, please raise your hand. And love to talk to you and have you on as well. So, okay, here's some requests coming in. And there's Melanie. Oops. Did that, let me see if that works. There's Dean. Okay. This is doing a funky thing where it says it's only return as an attendee, but they're not on as speakers yet. Do you raise your hand again there, Melanie? I do apologize that Webinar Jam every week is something. Kev, do you have a preferred platform for doing webinars and these kinds of things? No.
I don't unfortunately have anything better than Webinar Jam.
I see all of you here, and I hover over you and it just says return as an attendee. That is bizarre. Let me go to the control panel and see if that gives me more actual control. Ah, yes, it does. Hang on a second. Melanie, you're invited. Okay, Wardy. Wardy's not able to get on, no problem. Wendy's there. I'm gonna invite Wendy. Let's just get everybody. Let's all just talk over you. This will be like one of those Fox News shows, and we'll just all yell at each other. Yes, Angie. Cool. Let me find yours, Dean. It's weird if I do it there, it doesn't work. Dean says frozen. Hopefully that's not the. Okay, yeah, God almighty, we're going to get rid of Webinar Jam very quickly here. All right, let's see how we're doing. Yay! Angie Coley, what up, girl? You're there, but you're frozen. There you are. Your head's moving now. Good to see you. Dean, what's up, brother? And don't everybody get offended thinking Dean's trying to like spread some kind of Christmas message. Guys, those lights up. All year long.
All year.
All year long.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, we hear you.
Fantastic.
Good, good, good. And then Melanie hopefully will be coming on in a minute. Just let me make sure I invited her properly. Yeah, looks like I did. Let me know if you need a second invite, if something, I know there's a couple steps to do there. All right, let's talk quickly about Melanie's question about justifying price. I think this is a great question. Angie, you do more corporate copywriting. Do you guys do a lot of price structuring and value building in your stuff?
It really depends on the product. Let's say, for instance, we've got some high-end patio furniture that we sell. Some of it's made of teak that is harvested from sustainable forests, and it lasts a very long time. So we can justify to someone that that table costs like $1,000 as opposed to the glass top aluminum one that you could get for $200.
Right. So you'll just, frame it against the more expensive thing. Right. This is probably the most direct way to state the value of something, especially if it's known in the market. And that's one other thing you have to consider. Is this a known thing? Do people instinctively know the price of this, or how much do you need to, like, build up the value of the thing you're building your value against?
And it really depends on knowing what they're in the market for, too. I mean, if you just want a cheap table so you can sit outside, then that's fine. If you're looking for something you can have on your back patio for 50 years, well, then, yeah, you're going to spend $1,000 on a teak table.
Yeah. Excellent. Dean.
Yeah.
Dean Ellison, what do you know about this topic?
Oh, man. I mean, writing so many sales letters, it goes, I just think this is very congruent with what you've been talking about the past couple of weeks with Ross on developing the USP and really digging deep to find out why do people want to buy from you? Why do people want to buy this particular service? Why do they want to work with your company? Why do they want to buy your and buy a product? So for Melanie, I'd look at, okay, so if you've got some higher priced items, it seems like almost the same thing as Dan Kennedy would say is marketing to the affluent. A lot of this stuff, so I think a lot of it has to do with reframing and positioning, and for higher end products like teak, it has to do with status. It's a status play. It's an ego play as well. Because if people are coming in and they just don't want run-of-the-mill patio furniture, but they want something that's going to impress their friends, something that they can feel proud about, something that they can talk about. Because if you're buying a high-priced item like this, you can be sure that the host is going to point out, hey, let me show you this table I just got. I want to tell you about it. So there's a story behind it too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of prestige and show off.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Cool. Well, Melanie's here now. Welcome, Melanie. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So, you're a skilled copywriter, so this is not a copy 101 question for you. I'm sure you've got some devices you use, and so tell us what you typically do and why you're looking to change your game or up your game when it comes to value.
Sure. So I put together a big sales letter recently, and perhaps some of you guys saw the picture on Facebook. So big problem number one is I write long. Problem number two is that I'm then responsible to edit. And so first step was take a picture. I printed all 26 pages and put them on a table so everybody could see. And then after that, I went and made popcorn. So that's where we're at. So far we have lots of pages and we have popcorn. And so I am editing and I'm looking at the price justification section, and the suggested thing has to do with coffee, and I find that to be so deeply annoying. And so that's a no. And I also kind of started thinking about how there's a big difference between justifying the decision, as in the decision to click the Buy Now button. There's a big difference between that and justifying the price itself. And so what sorts of things would make you want to agree to this price point versus a totally different one? It kind of seemed like a different point of psychology.
Yeah, and I think it's congruent to talk about even just how you present the price on the page itself, right? Right. At least in a lot of info products, we test different things like putting the order box directly under the video or saving it for further down the page. When do you actually, what we call, pop the buy button? You time how long you want ideally somebody to be watching, at what point in the presentation does the order form pop up, and then they see the price, which can be long. Oftentimes, like, the price won't actually appear in the VSL until like the 20-minute mark, and the winning time for the button will be 6 minutes or something. And so that's always interesting.
And then other people do it whereas like I don't even want to put the price on the page. I just want people have to actually click over to the order form to see the price, which personally I think is a mistake because it's just annoying to have to do that. And you get such a high cart abandonment rate from that because people are just clicking to see the price. Plus, you're asking now you have to get them to leave the page, see the price, and then decide to come back and then go justify the price for themselves, right? So this is a big topic. There's tons of variables, but I think it's smart what you're saying that it is definitely two separate ideas, and we don't always get to control the pitch. I mean, let's face it. This is why autoplay video sales letters were the rage for so long because it was like, wow, we finally get to control the pitch. We give them no other option but to hear this the way we feel like they need to hear it to be persuaded, to be compelled, to have all their questions answered, and then we present the price and have them go, wow, I can't believe it's only that much, right?
Right.
So are you thinking about more in the context of just in general how to justify it, or how to justify it when you know you can't control exactly when they see the price, like on a text-only sales page? Or am I asking questions that you
I can't be the only person.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think I'm not the only person who's ever gotten to this section and then felt like, wow, if I have to give this same price justification over again, I'm going to go straight out of my mind. And the thing I'm selling isn't terribly expensive. It's got like a $7 price point on it. And so, in my opinion, the price justification is why not?
Right. Yeah, good point. And that can be, that was kind of like, reminds me of Wardy's, when she was working with the Bundle Company, right? It seems like price alone on that product is, well, why wouldn't I do this? They get like 100 books for $9 or whatever it is, like some crazy price, and you're going, that isn't that enough? No, not if they don't care about the content of the books, and having 100 books isn't necessarily a good thing for everybody if they feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be more overwhelmed about having to read all these books, right? So there's a lot of psychology going on there. I think I've raised more questions than I have helped answer yours. But does anybody else have something? I see Dean moving his lips there.
Well, I want to talk to Melanie on this point because I had this exact same thing come up. I have a client, and I have the consultant business manager working on something, and it was to sell a membership site. And I wrote a very long sales letter for it because I thought the membership site had just, this client provides, way over delivers, provides tremendous value. And it's a $39 a month price point. And the sales letter came out, it was a text sales letter, came out to about 20 pages. And the first comment I got back from the business manager, marketing consultant was, wow, this is really long. I didn't think it would be. Why did you make it so long? It's way too long for a $39 price point. And my feeling was, I think like Melanie's, if you're going to, there's no such thing as long, but there is such a thing as long-winded. So if what you're presenting is compelling in the copy, it's drawing somebody in, it's gonna hit all those psychological and emotional hot buttons, I don't see anything wrong with it. And I have to agree, Melanie, it is you could do a $7 product on just a one-page or two-page tripwire, or do you write a sales letter for it? And I think it just comes back to testing. But if you can make a convincing argument for this if somebody's invested all this time to read 26 pages of your sales letter and then they see it's only $7, I'm going to go, what? I'm buying.
One thing I'll add to that is that it's a great point, Dean. But one other thing that might determine the length is what is the funnel? What are the upsells, right? So I mean, if you know that what you're really selling is this whole big concept and getting to buy into some ideal and some like really future-paced life change, and offer 2 and 3 and 4 are only going to make that more tangible for them. You can spend time selling it in the tripwire offer. But if it's strictly just, what I think of like Survival Joe, they've gotten me a few times on the credit card knife, and they just make like deals where it's like, how can I not get that knife for $4.95 or just shipping or whatever. And they're great at it. It's a great example there because it's usually short copy, and it's something that was not on my radar before I got to the page.
Mm.
And so I think it's just about like, but also they know they're talking to a very specific person who feels like, you know, they're giving them something that forwards the ideal of themselves and the belief they have, right? I'm basically giving you a knife that you can bring onto an airplane. Not asking why you'd want to do that, but your right as an American says that you should not be denied the opportunity to board an airplane with some kind of weapon to protect yourself, right? And that's what makes the sale. So you're right, Dean. It is very relevant to all the USP talk we've had this week, because once you have that so dialed in, it's a little easier to come up with, oh, how long does this need to be? If I can like nail the appeal of this right out of the gate and it's emotional, then it probably doesn't take a ton of copy. Yeah? Okay. So we've got a little off topic, Melanie, but thank you for bringing it up. I don't feel like we gave you any help whatsoever in actually like giving you the variety on how to justify it differently, but maybe, I don't know, did you take anything away from this short discussion?
What I've got so far is don't be afraid to cut out the deadwood and make sure to link the price justification to the USP. And it's okay to put the really good bullets in the boneyard because you'll use them on the upsells. I do have 2 upsells. So that's what I'm going to take away.
All right, that was something. That was good. All right, love it. Thank you. Please stay on. Let's jump into one more thing. If anybody has to go, I understand. And we are at an hour, but let's just take a quick look at Dan's thread. If you guys, I think you probably all know about Dan Ferrari. He's one of our best copywriters out there working today. He's just caught fire quickly. He's only been doing it a few years. He's this surfer dude. He's caught the eye of Ken McCarthy. He's been interviewed by Ken McCarthy. He's been on some other podcasts. He's just really caught fire, and he's just, I always say that good copywriters get good fast, but not always as fast as Dan. So let's be inspired, and I love that Dan is willing to share his wisdom here. And so he's basically allowing us to ask any question we want about this control. He is NDA'd into it to some degree. He says he can't talk about order sizes, conversion rates, things like that, because he wrote it for Motley Fool. But let's just take a look at the piece real quick and give our first impressions. Just above the fold, let's stay on the deck here. The headline is what every American wishes they knew before filing for Social Security. My thoughts on that headline are, who's just doing this? Oh, I heard hello. Okay. My thoughts on the headline are, I love how direct it is, and it's so simple, right? The best headlines always feel like the simplest statement in the world, and you go, wow, why is that so effective? Because again, like any good headline, it's hinting at the big promise, but it's not revealing, it's not making any claim. It's just saying if you're somebody who's already filed for Social Security, or you're about to file for Social Security, you pretty much can't ignore what I've just proposed to you. What every American wishes they knew before filing for Social Security. There's a lot of emotion in that. You're pointing out a group of people it's too late for them, and you certainly don't want to be a part of that group of people who wish they knew this before. And then the simple subhead is including the 17-minute secret that removes the guesswork and makes it easy to earn as much as $15,978 in additional benefits every year. Tons of curiosity there, implied benefit, money in your pocket. And again, in just a few words here, if I'm the avatar for this product, I cannot resist finding out what this is. Your thoughts? Dean Edelson.
I'm with you. It's very simple. I even like, the way it's laid out. It's just it's really appealing, and there's nothing that that I find that's distracting. I just had the letter up before.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I really like the graphic that they chose with that open book. It almost looks like it looks almost academic, and you got this big thick page, and that with what the promise is that they're going to give you everything, that you don't have to go sifting through this huge book of all this law and rules and regs of Social Security. I'm going to give you a report that condenses it, and you're going to get everything.
That's a great great point.
If I'm your target audience,
You're right. Yeah, I love that. You're right. That's brilliant to show this book on this graphic here, and you see it's a big, thick, daunting book to read, and they're basically saying, we're with you. Who could ever read this? And we've done the work to dig out what you need to know. It's right here. Let us tell you about it, right? And they're promising up here that it's quick and simple, the 17-minute secret that removes the guesswork and makes it easy. I mean, and we talk about, you know, I talk a lot about what Paris brought home to me so well, one concept per sentence, right? When you have somebody's attention, don't overwhelm them. Just make a really elegant promise that's impactful and on target. So that's what this does. The 17-minute secret, I get that instantly. That removes the guesswork, got it. Makes it easy to earn, good, as much as this number in additional benefits every year. That is all one concept, but every word that's there to bring it forward to me just makes it juicier and juicier. But it's not asking me to consider 3 different benefits that I have to then, my brain has to go to work on deciding if it's something I want to get involved with or not, right?
He also, what I love too, is that he wasn't afraid, and he did this and it's really calculated, and the specificity of 15,978 and 2,728 rules. I mean, you know, you can get bogged down and lost in numbers, but going off of what you just said, Kevin, everything is specific to what they're talking about around one singular idea. And that, you know, sometimes that's not easy to pull off, and he did it very elegantly here as well. And he repeats those numbers too in the first couple of paragraphs of copy 3 times. It's that rule of 3. You could see he mentions 15,978, then and did you know 15,978. He repeats 17-minute process again. So he's just reinforcing, keeps reinforcing. Right. Boardroom is brilliantly, you know, like Paris worked for Boardroom and Gary Bencivenga. It was all about that digest. We're going to take these big, massive tax tomes and real estate, you know, estate planning books. We're going to condense it down, and we're going to give it to you. So it's really simple.
And look, as we scroll down, if we're just going to scan this letter and skim it, as you know people do, what do we see? The next thing I'm instinctively stopping on is the next image. And people read captions. Keep that in mind. Captions are hugely important real estate in your sales page. Getting your Social Security correct has never been easier. He's just solidifying the message even more, as you pointed out, Dean. Imagine, answer just 7 simple questions, send your claim in, and you're done. Resting easy because you know you're one of the few in-the-know folks who's getting every penny they deserve. I mean, that's right out of Carlton's book of that exclusivity. Resting easy because you're one of the few in the know. Just excellent, excellent, excellent. Good stuff. Kev K, anything to add on this?
No, the one thing that came to mind is the headline and how simple it is. It seems like that headline from a novice copywriter comes out of something like what every American should know before filing Social Security. By changing it to wishes they knew, that does 2 things. Like there's a little social element to it. Like other people right, have went through some pain that I want to avoid, and also triggers that regret, the feeling of regret, that I don't want to regret a bad decision, so I better keep reading.
Yeah, great point. Wendy, you had a great point about people just wanting finance to be easy for them.
Yeah, just because anything to do with numbers is so, well, tricky, it's boring, it's complicated, and if you mess up, you know, it haunts you for years or decades. So to get good advice and that doesn't, you know, melt your brain cells is a winner.
That's a great point. It's high anxiety stuff, right? I mean, unless you are somebody who's driven by this stuff and really gets off on it, and that's why this, the financial market, they read the longest stuff, they watch the longest VSLs because they're so passionate about what they do. But they're outliers to a degree. The average, certainly average American, just it's turned off by this.
It's also very boring. I mean,
boring subject, right? Now,
IT stuff can be really hard.
yeah, it can be confusing, and like you said, like to pull the trigger on one decision or another, you could ask 5 people and get 5 different answers about whether you should be doing that or not, or what's a better way. So you're right, it's high anxiety stuff, and the more you can make it feel simple, the better off you're going to be. Now, Melanie, you're somebody who happens to love this topic. You are one of these financially passionate people who would read lots of info about it, even for fun. You have your husband is in this business, so and you've been in it for a long time. What do you see in this letter?
Well, I'll tell you a personal story.
Okay.
So I saw the headline, and immediately my heart started racing because I had a talk with my accountant last year, and I am in a situation where there's 4 different directions that I can go with my own Social Security benefits, even though I'm not set to retire for another 20 plus years.
Wow.
And so it became super important, and there are things I wish I knew before I make that decision, because you can't unmake that choice.
Right, right.
And so you're talking to your accountant, and he lays out all your choices, and then he says, and the decision is entirely up to you. And this is the worst moment ever.
Right.
There's no going back. You're not an expert. You're some random woman who's making a decision that has multiple outputs. They go on forever. Why would I want that? And I do want easy money, and I do want you to tell me that I'm your friend, and I do want to know in 17 minutes what the secret to this is going to be, because I've been worrying about it for 363 days, and in 2 more days he's going to be back here telling me more about it. And that's how I feel.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah. So what are we all talking about? We're talking about emotions, right?
Right.
Whether, for you, a very specific one, Melanie, Wendy, you're talking about what most people feel is just the anxiety around the topic and confusion and just the dauntingness of having to make a decision or get it wrong. And so great input, and everybody check out this thread in this letter, and you get to ask the writer of this high-level piece of copy anything you want about it. So let's ask some really good questions. There's already some good questions in the thread. Kathy, sorry you had to go. I know I mentioned we were going to try to get to your letter, so we will. I'll try to make sure I weigh in with some feedback on that. We covered your USP a little bit. I'd say start with that exercise and get all your rankings in place. Make sure you go through those USP exercises, and probably your offer might change a little anyway once you go through that, because it's super valuable. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. The only person I didn't get on was April. We'll make sure I'm going to have April on next week. Actually, now that I'm reminded, I don't think we will have a Chief Chat next week, and not to be bring anybody down, but I have to go to a funeral at 1 o'clock next Friday, so won't have the Chief Chat. This could be the last Chief Chat of the year because the other 2 are holidays. Isn't that sad? But thank you guys for coming on. I'll keep you updated. I appreciate everybody being here, and I will see you inside. Bye.